Bismillah, in this video we are going to talk about how to factorize polynomial. This topic is very important and contains 4 lessons: how to factorize by taking HCF, how to factorize difference between two squares, how to factorize using grouping, how to factorize trinomial. We can start with the first lesson now. Factorization by taking HCF. Number 1, factorize completely 12n squared minus 4mn. For these two terms, what is the common factor between 12n squared and 4mn? For the numbers 12 and 4, what is the common factor between 12 and 4? HCF for 12 and 4, 12 divisible by 4. So HCF is the smallest one, is 4. HCF is the highest number, 12 and 4 can be divided by it. Okay, so the highest common factor between 12 and 4, 4. For the symbols, we have n squared and we have mn. So n common. n power 2 or n power 1? n power 1. If you have n common, so take n to the least power. If you have symbol common, so take the symbol to the least power. Okay, so the highest common factor between 12n squared and 4mn is 4n. Now bracket 4n times what equal 12n squared. You can divide to get the answer. 12 divide 4 equal 3. n squared divide n equals n. So 3n minus 4mn divide 4n, 4 cancelled, n cancelled, so m. So m left over. To check your answer, if you multiply, you get the same, the original one. 4n times 3n, 12n squared. 4n times m equal 4mn. Number 2, 4x squared minus 8xy. Again, with the numbers 4 and 8, 4 and 8, 4 and 8 divisible by divisible by 4. So HCF for 4 and 8, which is 4. For x power 2 and xy, what is the common? X common. Take the least power, so x power 1, y is not common. So the common for this one is 4x. Bracket. Then divide 4x squared divide 4x equals x minus 8xy divide 4x. 8 divide 4 equals 2. xy divide x, x cancelled, so we have y. To check your answer, if you multiply 4x times x equal 4x squared, 4x times negative 2y equals negative 8xy. Moving on. Number 3. For the numbers, we have two terms also. 3 and 2. 3 and 2. What is the HCF for 3 and 2? There is no common factor between 3 and 2 except 1. Now we have this quantity squared and this quantity to the power 1. So this quantity common, which is x minus y. X minus y is this bracket common in both. So take the common factor. So the common factor now x minus y. Okay? So you are left over with x minus y times what? Equal 3 times x minus y squared. You can divide 3 divide 1 equal 3. X minus 1 squared divide x minus 1. So we have x minus 1, x minus y. X minus y squared divide x minus y. So we have x minus y because this bracket squared minus 2 times x minus y divide x minus y. Or x minus y times what? Equal 2 times x minus y times 2. So this is the answer. you can expand the second bracket, 3 times x and 3 times negative y, so 3x minus 3y minus 2. Next, 15b squared plus 24bt. Take the common factor. What is the common factor between 15 and 24? 15 and 24 divisible by what? Can be divided by what? What is the highest common factor? What is the highest number they can divide it by? 15 and 24 divisible by 3. 3 times 5, 3 times 8. So for 15 and 24, 3. b power 2 and bt. So b common. Take b to the least power. So the common factor, 3b. Now left over with 3b times what equal 15b squared? 3 times 5 and b times b to get b squared. 3b times 5b equal 15b squared plus 3 times what equal 24? 3 times what equal 24 bt. 3 times 8 equal 24. B times what equal bt? B times t. So 3b times 5b plus 8t. To check your answer, you can multiply 3b times 5b, 15b squared, 3b times 8t equals 24bt. Moving on. Between 4 and 3, there is no common factor except 1. So you don't need to take one common factor. This quantity is repeated, x minus 5 and x minus 5. But this x minus 5 squared, the first one. So take x minus 5 to the power 1 common. Because if you have a quantity repeated or common, take this quantity to the least power. So the common factor now, x minus 5. So the common factor now, x minus 5. So x minus 5 bracket x minus 5 times what equal 4 times x minus 5 squared times 4 into x minus 5 plus x minus 5 times what equal 3 times x minus 5, or divide 3 times x minus 5 by x minus 5. So the answer 3. So x minus 5 times 4, x minus 5 plus 3. Or you can expand the second bracket. Number 6. 3x squared minus 12xy. What is the highest common factor? Between 3 and 12? 3, because 12 divisible by 3. X squared and xy is the highest common factor. We have x common, x power 2 and x power 1, so x power 1 common, but y not common. So the highest common factor between these two terms, 3x. So take the highest common factor, open a bracket, then divide 3x squared divided by 3x. 3 divided by 3 equal 1, x squared divide x equal x. Minus 12xy divide 3x. 12 divide 3 equal 4. xy divide x equals y. Secondly, how to factorize the difference between two squares. In general, if we have two squares, square means has square root. If we have two squares, for example x squared and y squared, and we have difference between them, x squared minus y squared. So we can factorize that. Two brackets. The square root of x squared equals x. So just write x times x. Square root of y squared y. So y times y. And plus minus. This is the rule to factorize difference between two square. Now we can apply this rule. Number 1, 4x squared minus 9x. 4x squared minus 9x. So first check there is no common factor between them. No common factor between them. The first step to factorize, check if you have common factor or not. 4x squared minus 9, 4 and 9, no common factor between them. So now we have two terms, each one of them is a square. The square root for 4x squared, 2x, because 2x times 2x equal 4x squared. Square root of 9, 3. 3 times 3 equal 9. So this difference between two square. Now we factorize as follow. 4x squared, so 2x times 2x. 9, 3 times 3. Plus minus or minus plus, same. This have to factorize difference between two square. Next one, number 2. 9w squared minus 100. No common factor. You need to check if there is a common factor between them or no. 9 and 100. There is no common factor except 1. So no common factor between them. So factorize the square root of 9w squared, 3w, because 3w times 3w equal 9w squared. Square root of 110, because 10 times 10 equal 100. So now you can factorize 3w times 3w, 110 times 10, plus minus or minus a plus. Okay, this number 2. Now number 3. 2y squared minus 72. Check for highest common factor. Do we have common factor? 2y squared and 72. 2y squared and 72. 2 and 72 divisible by 2, because even numbers. So we have common factor, which is 2. So extract the common factor first. Take the common factor first. So 2 bracket. 2 times what equal 2y squared? 2 times what equal 2y squared? Times y squared. 2 times what equal 72? Or 72 divided 2 equal 36. Now look for this bracket. Isn't difference between two square? Because we have a square, and 36 square has square root 6. So we can factorize this two bracket into two bracket. Y squared, y times y, 36, 6 times 6, plus minus. Don't forget this two. Next one. The first step to factorize, check for the highest common factor. Extract the common factor. Do we have common factor? We have x common. This x bar 1, this x bar 1. So we have x common. So extract the common factor, which is x. Now bracket. X times what equal b squared x. So times b squared. X times what equal 4q squared x times 4q squared. Now this bracket, difference between two square. This is square, and we have minus, so this difference between two square. So don't forget to write x, and this bracket can factorize as following. B squared the square root b, 4q squared, the square root 2q, plus minus. Moving on, number 5, 12x squared minus 3y squared. Check for the common factor. 12 and 3 divisible by 3. Okay. So the highest common factor between 12 and 3, 3. So take 3. Then 3 times what equal 12x squared? 3 times 4x squared. 3 times what equal 3y squared? 3 times y squared. Now, we have difference between two squares. So we can factorize into two brackets. 4x squared, the square root 2x times 2x, square root of y squared y times y plus minus. Number 6, factorize m squared minus n. What is the common factor between m power 3 minus m? Common factor m common, bracket, m times what equal m power 3 times m power 2, m times what equal m times 1. Take care. Consider that you have 1 here, invisible 1. So if you take m common factor, so you have 1. You cannot leave this term 0. Now m squared minus 1, this difference between two square, we can factorize. M squared, the square root m, 1 the square root 1, plus minus. You can pause the video and solve this by your own. What is the highest common factor between 20, 45? 20 and 45 both divisible by 5. So 5 common factor. No symbols common. So 5 times what equal 20x squared? 5 times what equal 20x squared? 5 times 4, so 4x squared. Minus 5 times what equal 45? 5 times 9, 9y squared. Now we have difference between two squares. Difference between two squares. So we can factorize. The square root of 4x squared, 2x. Square root for 9y squared, 3y, 3y, plus, minus. Next, x power 3 minus 16xy squared. First, check the common factor. Do we have common factor? The x common, x power 3, x power 1, so x common. So, x bracket, x times what equal x power 3, x times x power 2, minus x times what equal 16xy squared. If you divide, x cancel, so 16y squared. 16y squared. Now this difference between two squares. X, two brackets, square root of x squared, x times x, square root of 16y squared, 4y times 4y, so 4y times 4y, plus, minus. The third lesson, how to factorize by grouping. You can use this factorization if you have 4 terms. If you have 4 terms, so you can factorize by grouping. If you have 4 terms, so factorize by grouping. Factorize by grouping, this means make two groups. Number one, factorize completely ax plus ay plus bx plus by. So if we try the first and second and third and fourth, do we have common factor between the first two, ax and ay? Ax and ay, so we have a common. So take a common. Now bracket a times what equal ax, a times x, a times what equal ay, a times y, plus the same for the last two. If we take b common, so we have b times x and b times y. We have the same bracket. Now we can take this bracket common, this quantity common in both terms, so we can take this as a common factor. So you have x plus y, then bracket a times ax plus y divide x plus y, so we have left with a plus b times x plus y divide x plus y, so we have b. Number two, same, we have two groups. You can try first. Sometimes first and second doesn't work. We need to rearrange to take first and third, first and fourth. But we can try if the first and second works or not. If we take the first two terms, do we have common? MB and NB, we have B common. So take B common. Then you have M, B times what equal MB, B times M, plus B times what equal NB, B times N. Same, if you have negative in front of the last two, so take negative common. We have negative common, and we have 6 common, and we have Q common. So we can take negative 6Q common. Then negative 6Q divide what times what equal negative 6MQ. Or divide negative 6MQ divide by negative 6Q. Negative 6 divide negative 6 equal 1 or positive 1, because negative divide negative equal positive. MQ divide Q equal M, so we have M. Negative 6NQ divide negative 6Q, we have negative 6 divide negative 6 positive 1, NQ divide Q equal N, so plus N. So if we have same bracket, so we factorize in a proper way. Take this common bracket common, then you are left with B minus 6Q. B minus 6Q. Number 3, same, x squared plus bx plus qx plus bq. The first two, the common factor x, bracket, then x plus b. The last two, the common factor q, so take q common factor. Now you have x plus b, x plus b, this bracket, take this bracket common, so we have x plus b, x plus b, x times x plus b divide x plus b, so we have left over with x. Now q times x plus b divide x plus b cancel, so you have q. So this is the final. Now number 4, same, you can try by your own, pause the video and try by your own. kb plus 3k, what is the common factor k? So we have b plus 3. For the last two, we have m common, so b plus 3. Now this 3 plus 3 is bracket common, so take this bracket. Then you have k plus m. The last lesson in this topic, factorize trinomial. How to factorize trinomial. The first step to factorize, if you have common factor, extract the common factor. Now we try the first one. X squared plus 3x minus 28. The coefficient, look for the coefficient 1, 3, 2, 28. So no common factor. If the coefficient of x squared 1, so this is a simple 1 for trinomial, we can factorize. We need two numbers, so to factorize, how to factorize? If the coefficient of x squared 1, so we have two brackets. X squared, so x times x. 28, negative 28. We need two numbers. If you multiply, you get negative 28, and if you add, you get 3. If you multiply, you get negative 28, and if you add, you get 3. And because it's negative, so one of the two numbers negative and the other positive. So we have one negative and one positive. We need to find these two numbers. If you multiply, you get negative 28, and if you add, you get 3. So how to get 28? 4 times 7, but we have one of them negative, so negative 4 times 7, or 4 times negative 7. You can try. If we add negative 4 plus 7, we get 3. So the first pair does work. So two numbers, if you multiply them, you get negative 28, and if you add, you get 3, negative 4 and 7, negative 4 and 7. Okay, negative 4 times 7, negative 28. Negative 4 plus 7 equal 3. So negative 4 and positive 7. Okay? And also you can check your answer. Yes, x times x equal x squared, negative 4 times 7, negative 28. You need to check the middle term, negative 4x, the inner, negative 4x, and the outer, 7x, negative 4x plus 7x equal 3x. So correct. Second one. Y squared plus 12y minus 13. We need two numbers. If you multiply, you get negative 13, and if you add, you get 12. Positive 12. How to get 13? 13, and one of them, because it's negative, so one negative and one and the other positive. So to get negative 13, so negative 13 times 1, or 13 times negative 1. But negative 13 and 1, if we add, we get negative 12. But this is positive 12. 13 times negative 1, if we add, we get positive 12. So it does work. So this is the answer. So two brackets, y squared, then y times y, and 13 and negative 1, so both plus 13 and minus 1. Next one, x squared minus 10x plus 25. We need two numbers. If you multiply, you get positive 25. If you add, you get negative 10. If you multiply, you get positive. So maybe the both of them positive or both of them negative. But because the sum negative, so should be both of them negative. So we need two negative numbers. If you multiply, you get positive 25. And if you add, you get negative 10. So how to get 25? Don't try 1 times 25 firstly. So we have 5 times 5. But we agree that because the sum negative, so negative 5 and negative 5. Negative 5 and negative 5. If we multiply, we get positive 25. And if we add, we get negative 10. So, two brackets. X squared, so x times x, minus 5, minus 5. Next one. The second type of trinomial, if the coefficient of x squared or y squared or b squared is not 1. So how to factorize if the coefficient is not 1? We have many ways, but we can use this way. It's easy for all students. Multiply the first step, multiply the number, the leading coefficient, the number in front of b squared or x squared with y squared. Multiply this term by the last term. Multiply the first term by the last term. 2 times negative 10, negative 20. So this is the product. And the middle term, negative 1, because there is no number, so this means 1, so negative 1. So the middle term, negative 1. This is the sum. Now try to find two numbers. If you multiply together, you get negative 20, and if you add, you get negative 1. Multiply together, you get negative 20, and if you add, you get negative 1. So if you multiply them, you get negative 20, so this means 1 negative and 1 positive. How to get 20? And the difference between them, 1. So how to get 20? You can try 2 times 10, but the difference is not 1. 4 times 5, and the difference 1, so it does work. But because I need 1 negative and 1 positive, and the sum negative, so you can say negative 5 times 4, negative 5 times 4. Negative 5 times 4 equals negative 20, and negative 5 plus 4 equals negative 1. So replace the middle term by, replace negative b by negative 5b plus 4b, negative 5b plus 4b, or 4b minus 5b. So now we replace the middle term by these two terms, negative 5b and 4b plus 4b. Because we started with 2b squared, so 2b squared is related to 4b, so start with 4b. So 2b squared plus 4b, because we have common factor between them, then minus 5b minus 10, and also we have common factor between negative 5 and negative 10. So now use factorize by grouping. The first group, the second group. The first group, what is the common factor? 2b. So now 2b times what equal 2b squared times b. 2b times what equal 4b times 2. And the last two, what is the common factor? Negative 5, so negative 5. Negative 5 times what equal negative 5b times b. Negative 5 times what equal negative 10 times positive 2. Now this bracket common, so take b plus 2. This quantity common times 2b minus 5. It's too long, but it works with all, and it's easy to use. Now we can apply this method for number 5. 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. The first step, multiply the first term by the last term. Multiply the first term by the last term. 6 times 2 equals 12. This is the product. And the middle term, 7. So this is the sum. Think of two numbers. If you multiply, you get 12. And if you add, you get 7. How to get 12? 1 times 12, but sum not 7. To get 12, 1 times 12. 2 times 6, but sum 8. 3 times 4, sum 7. So 3 and 4. So 3 and 4. So replace 7x by 3x and 4x. 3x and 4x. Start with 3x because 3x, we have common factor between 3x and 6x squared. So we can rewrite the polynomial as the trinomial as 6x squared plus 3x plus 4x plus 2. The first two, What is the common factor between the first two? Yes, 3x, then bracket. 3x times what equals 6x squared times 2x. 3x times what equals 3x times 1. Okay, plus 4x plus 2. What is the common factor? 2. 2 times what equal 4x. 2 times 2x. 2 times what equal 2 times 2 times 1. Now this bracket common, so take 2x plus 1 common factor. You left over with 3x plus 2. The same for number 6. We apply the rule and we can explain how to solve using calculator. You can factorize the trinomial using calculator. The first step, as we know, 2 times 12, 24. So this is the product, 24. And the middle term, this is the sum. So the sum equals 11. So find two numbers. Think of two numbers. If you multiply, you get if you multiply, you get 24. And if you add, you get 11. How to get 24? 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 4 times 6, 3 times 8. But I need the sum 11. Sum 11, so 3 and 8. So replace 11x by 3x and 8x. 3x and 8x. Start with 8x because 8x and 2x squared, we have between 8 and 2, we have 2 common factor. So replace 11x by 8x plus 3x. And rewrite 2x squared plus 12. Now factorize by grouping. The first two, what is the common factor? 2x. Then you have 2x times what equal to x squared, so 2x times x. 2x times what equal 8x times 4. And the last two, we have 3 common. 3 times what equal 3x, so 3 times x. 3 times what equal 12, so 3 times 4. X plus 4 common factor, this bracket common factor, so x plus 4 times 2x plus 3. If you don't have common factor, you can factorize any trinomial using your calculator. Using your calculator. So this is your calculator now. Mode 5-3, mode 5-3. So mode 5-3. Okay, this what appears in your calculator. He asked you to enter, if you have the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c, enter a, which is 2, b, which is 11, c, which is 12. Okay, in same order. The coefficient of x squared 2, the coefficient of x 11, the absolute term is 12. So just enter these values in order. So 2 equal 11 equal 12 equal, then equal. So we have x1 equal negative 4, x1 equals negative 4, and press equal again. So x2 equal negative 3 over 2. If the answer is in decimal, just write as a fraction using SD pattern. Now how to write the working with the bracket? If x is negative 4, so transpose negative 4 to the other side by positive, so x plus 4. This is the first bracket. And if you have fraction like that, multiply by 2 first, so 2x. Then transpose negative 3 by positive, so 2x plus 3. So this is the 2 bracket. This using your calculator. So you can factorize any trinomial using your calculator. But if you have common factor, take the common factor first. Extract the common factor first. Try now, number 7. The coefficient of x squared 6, the coefficient of x 7, the absolute term negative 20. So enter this coefficient in order, 6, 7, negative 20. So 6 equal 7 equal negative 20 equal, then press equal. So we have x equal x1 equal negative 5 over 2. Press equal to find the other value. x2 is 4 over 3. Now from the first value for x, multiply by 2, so 2x, then transpose negative 5 by positive, so 2x plus 5. This is the first bracket. For second value, multiply by 3, so 3x, and transpose 4 to the other side by negative, so 3x minus 4. This is the two bracket. So 2x plus 5 times 3x minus 4. Same number 8. Number 8, we need to change this expression. Start with x squared and x in number. So negative x squared plus 5x plus 24. If you have negative sign in front of x squared, so take negative common. So change all the sign for the rest. So x squared minus 5x minus 24. Then factorize the expression and this trinomial. Don't forget to write the negative. X squared minus 5x minus 24, two brackets, to get x squared x times x. And we need to find two numbers. If you multiply, you get negative 24, and if you add, you get negative 5. Negative 8 multiplied 3. Negative 8 multiplied 3. So negative 8 plus 3. Okay, next one. X squared minus 3x minus 28. So same, no common factor. So x squared minus 3x minus 28, x squared x times x. Think of two numbers. If you multiply, you get negative 28. If you add, you get negative 3. This is the product, this is sum. So one of them positive and the other negative. To get negative 28, so 7 times 4, or negative 7 times 4. If you add, you get negative 3. If you multiply, you get negative 28. So minus 7 plus 4. For double I, do we have common factor? This bracket, common. So we can this bracket as a common factor. Now you have 7 times one bracket, which is a plus 2b, plus 4a. You can simplify, more simplify. 7 times a and 7 times 2b, 7a plus 14b plus 4a. Seven a and 4a, you can add them because like terms. So a plus 2b times 11a plus 14b. Now go back to the flowchart. How to factorize polynomial. First, extract the highest common factor if you have common factor. First, extract the common factor. Take the common factor if you have. Next step. After you extract the highest common factor, you are left with 2 terms, or 3 terms, or 4 terms. If you have 2 terms, so the only binomial you can factorize, if you have 2 terms, the difference between 2 square. The difference between 2 square. X squared minus y squared. You can factorize as x plus y times x minus y. If you have 4 terms, so factorize by grouping. Take 2 groups. You can try first and second, third and fourth. Then check for the common factor for each group. Or you have 3 terms, then trinomial, and you have 2 cases for trinomial. If the coefficient of x squared 1, you can solve directly. If the coefficient is not 1, you can multiply the first by the last and substitute the middle term and then solve by using grouping. Okay, so first take the common factor, then if you have two terms, difference between two square. If you have three terms, it's trinomial. If you have four terms, factorize by grouping.